Hello everyone, this is Bill Meridian speaking to you on behalf of myself and Gene Vicotan of Astrology. The purpose of this video is to explain to you the finance tools in the Astrology website. And as always, as in our previous videos, the first thing we do is go to Reports. And we click on New Astro Scribe. We do that because there will be an Append Astro Scribe button in each screen that we run. And if you hit Append to Astro Scribe, you will save the study that you were looking at. No need to print it out or take any notes by hand. So let's go to Finance, and we've already reviewed Companies Data. We've reviewed Search. This is Advanced Search, and parts of the screen will look the same as the Search screen. First of all, here are our selections, and this is the same screen we saw in Search. Indexes, and I'm going to pick, to start out NASDAQ 100 because that's fewer stocks, shorter time to run. Industry group, country is the USA. We could select different countries here. It is the same screen. Sectors, type of chart, markets. This is the area in which we save the search. So once we have a search, we would give it a name, give it a description. We could write in an interpretation. And this tab right here, if we are looking to build a model that is bullish, we would pick positive. Bearish, negative. If we're working on it and we haven't come to any conclusion, we could just tag it as unknown and come back and work on it again later. Or we could just call it neutral if we find it doesn't move the market up or down, but we'd like to save it so we don't repeat it again. And this yoga over here is Vedic. I don't use Vedic astrology myself, so I cannot really comment on it. But here we have the nakshatras, which I cannot comment on, and numerous other terms from here and from classical astrology, which I don't use, so I can only comment on what I do use. And the most obvious type of search, the searches are right here, and the most obvious one is, let's say, the Sun in Aries, or the Sun, let's say, in Taurus. The searches are here, so as I change this screen will change. Once I found something I like, I can move it over into this box. So the difference between Search and Advanced Search is that we can do multi-level searches, and we also have logical arguments down here. So, for example, if I wanted all charts that have the Sun in Taurus or the Sun in Aries, but here, obviously, the Sun cannot be in Taurus and the Sun cannot be in Aries. That will return nothing. So we click down here and to select the record first, we switch it to OR. So if I run this, now Jupiter is right now, as I'm speaking, they're just gone retrograde in July. I'm in September 2022. Jupiter's in Aries and it's going to go into Taurus. So this may be information that will turn out to be useful for us. Well, here we have O'Reilly Automotive, and again, this works as in the other screen. We go to Details for Selected, and here we can see that the Sun is 33.4 degrees, which of course is 3 degrees Taurus, 1 degree short of my own Sun. So, and then we see Bookings Holdings, which is formerly Priceline. Let's take a look at that one. And again, we see a 9 Aries Sun, so indeed our search has worked. Now, once again, we can select all. We can do a group analysis. And here we have a number of different criteria to search by. I've picked sign distribution. And you just click Analysis, and we get numbers here, but it's easy to see it in this histogram. And of course, we have lots of planets in Aries and Taurus because that was our search. So I can append that to AstroScribe and save that for analysis later on. So I'm going to close this for now. So let's just say I've decided that Mercury retrograde is a negative. I don't know whether it is or it is not, but I could go down here to direct retrograde. I get Mercury direct. I could switch this to retrograde, and I can add that, and I can hit not. Oops, I have the wrong. Switch that back to end. I had selected the wrong one. Not. So this one, this search will find all charts with the Sun in Taurus, the Sun in Aries, but does not have Mercury retrograde. So you can exclude certain features that you do not want. So if I click this, I'll show you now the update button. Let's say I decide I want Mercury direct. I hit update, and it's been replaced by Mercury not direct. So what else can we do? I'm going to clear this right now, because this is something I use quite frequently. Signs, statistics, just click on that. I would like to see all charts in which there is exactly one planet in Aries. Now this can be, let's say, Taurus, and I could say equal to, greater than. Oh, let me start off with 3 planets in Taurus. So this will get all charts that have 3 planets, including the midheaven, the ascendant, and the node, in the sign of Taurus. Let's just say that Jupiter is about to enter tomorrow, and I want to see this. So we have Dollar Tree, which is a stock that has done very, very well in 2021, 2022. Now, we see that the moon is 26 degrees, that's in Taurus, and we see that the ascendant is 29 degrees, that's in Taurus, and now this is a bit tricky, that's the north node. If the north node is 218 degrees, we deduct 180. It's set. The south node is 38 degrees, which is 8 degrees Taurus. So indeed, there are 3 planets in Taurus. And I'm sure you all know Starbucks. Let's look at that one. We can see the moon is 13 Taurus. Mars is about 9 degrees Taurus. And the midheaven is about 15. So this is a technique I use frequently. You can look through thousands of first trade charts, and I started out with 800 paper charts all printed out in my desk drawer back at Payne Webber in New York, 85 to 88. And believe me, this is a lot easier than sorting through all those charts, especially when the phone keeps ringing. I'm sure you know Autodesk, Intuitive Surgical, and of course Meta, which was formerly Facebook. And here we see a 28 Taurus Sun, a 3 Taurus Moon, an 18 Taurus Mercury. And I think that might be it. Nope, we have a midheaven at 11. And by the way, I use 9:30, the opening time. There is no proof that Meta was available for trading at 9:30 a.m., available for purchase at 9:30, but the 11:45 time I found, I don't use it. I use 9:30. So I'd like to add some more conditions, so I'll open this up a bit to NASDAQ All. That will search for many more charts. And I'm going to raise this up to 5. So we want to replace that by hitting Update. Now we have Taurus 5, and we search. And we come up with, well, Meta is still in there. And we have a number of other stocks, all with 5 planets. So that is how that works. That is very helpful. If you see a malefic combination, like Saturn was opposing Uranus from Gemini to Sagittarius back just prior to 9/11, the airline stocks, the two most dominant signs are Gemini and Sagittarius. It's been that way since the 70s when I started doing this. Saturn opposed Uranus, 9/11 occurred, the airline stocks were selling off anyway, even before 9/11. So if you know there'll be a grouping of malefics in a sign or a grouping of benefics, this is the way you can sort through all the charts. Now we can also look at the houses. I don't use this much. Aspects. If you decide a particular aspect is desirable, you can do that right here. So I'm going to pick Sun, Jupiter, and conjunction is already picked for us. These modifiers here, dispositor, antician, contra-antician, again down here. So I'm going to add Sun conjunct Jupiter, and here we can choose applying, separating. Here you can set the orbs, and here the aspect type, dexter or sinister. I'm going to add that, but I think this one is a little too restrictive, so I'm going to, I think there'll be very few stocks that make up. So I'm going to click Update. So I'm searching for now for all stocks that have the Sun in Taurus and the Sun conjunct Jupiter. Because, and I come up with Meta. Now, when Jupiter goes into Taurus, number one, Meta has many planets in Taurus, and number two, it is going to be the Jupiter return. The Jupiter here is 24, 25 Taurus. So my research has shown that Jupiter in the sign will tend to lift all the stocks in the sign that have many planets in there, I should say. And Jupiter returns are also bullish. So we've got two reasons to look at Meta stock. So we could look at aspect patterns, conjunction T-square, grand trine, Yod, and so forth. Aspected point. Now this I find very useful. We could pick, let's just say there is an eclipse coming up, which there is, at 2 degrees Scorpio. Well, 2 degrees Scorpio would be, that 7 signs is 210, that would be 212, which is 2 Scorpio. That is coming up in October. And we would like to see all charts that have that eclipse on, let's say, the Sun, their midheaven. This is how it could be done. So at the moment it's set to all stocks that would have the Sun at 2 degrees Scorpio conjunction. I'm going to add that, and I'm going to run a search. And so all these stocks will have that eclipse on the Sun. Now I have no special research that I've ever done that would tell me that, for example, Akami, I don't know how an eclipse on the Sun would affect it. It sensitizes the degree. But what I would like to say is perhaps an eclipse on Jupiter. Select that, and we hit Update, and we run search. Now, let's just see if I can pick one. I think this is Madden Shoes. I think this is Ralph Lauren. Details for selected. Jupiter is 203. So that would be Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio. That would be a pretty wide conjunction. Now, let me go down here. I've explained and or, those are easy logical arguments. XOR. If you wanted to find all planets, all charts that had the Sun in Aries, you would pick Sun in Aries. But you didn't want Mercury in Aries for some reason, you would pick XOR. So you'd have two arguments. The Sun in Aries, Mercury in Aries, XOR. That means you will get all the charts that have one but not the other. That's XOR. Not is very easy to use. You saw me use it. This is for creating formulas. And as we know, in mathematics, formulas are executed first. So if you're creating something very long and you wanted to do something like, the formula is executed first. If you wanted to see all charts with, let's say, the Sun in Cancer, but does not have some other condition, you could make a formula out of that. That will be executed before any of the other conditions are run. If you've studied math, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to clear this, and we'll go to phase. Well, these are phases. This is point 1. Point 2 will make the moon. This would give us all full moons, 1/2 phase. This would be all new moons. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And so forth. You could find out what phase the two planets are in. Now, relative position is from Vedic astrology, which I don't use, but it's saying that the Sun and Moon have to be 2 signs apart. So you would get all, if the Sun is in Aries and the Moon is in Gemini, you would get all of those charts. Dignities, I'm sure you know the dignities. Ruler. If the Sun is the ruler of other planets. Considerations, again, is a term that it's from classical astrology. I don't use it. Position. I do use this a lot, as I explained before, with the eclipse coming up at 2 Scorpio. Direct or retrograde would be an interesting study. By the way, I've done numerous studies that show absolutely no difference. Stocks with Jupiter conjunct the midheaven, no difference from the behavior during their lifetime of the Standard & Poor's average. Speed. Here you could pick, for example, the moon. Now the moon moves about 13 degrees, I think a little less than that, little less than that. And if we pick 14, I'm going to make it 15. And we add and we hit all of these stocks, like Micron, Charming, I think it's Charming Shops. Micron was born during the day of a very fast moon, as was Array Technologies. I don't know what effect that has, but Charles Jane thought it was significant in the charts of people, in that a fast-moving moon on the day of your birth means you like and you prefer and can handle a fast-moving environment. Now these next two are again classical. The last one is Vedic. This one is midpoints, and we all know midpoints. Here I could pick point 1, point 2, and we could look for charts, for example, that have Jupiter at the Sun-Moon midpoint. And we could pick the modulus. We could make it 8th harmonic. We could pick 45 degrees. And we could search through for any planetary pictures or midpoint structures that we think are valuable. So, I hope this has given you a good idea of how to use the advanced search. We'll come back in the next video and we'll look at portfolio, price wheel, and we'll go down the list explaining each of these in detail. Thank you.